Well, hello everybody. We are
Hel-
live.
Hello, 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 hello. I'm trying
Hello,
to
hello.
share, but it wasn't doing what I wanted.
Everybody who's watching, please share because it's not working the way we want it to. We're going to switch this a
No,
little. How's
now
Mary
it's
doing
work.
today?
Mary was busy and
Mm,
scheduling new guests.
guests.
Yeah, I was talking to a few people,
In other words,
so
she was talking.
uh,
Yep.
typing.
That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You can do that.
Yeah, of course it's fine, and I love to do it, and yeah, not oversaturate, but we're doing great with the guests, and
We absolutely are. Yes.
yeah,
You know what the good
so
part is? We have a very, very nice guest tonight.
yeah, we reached out to someone. I
Yes, we
reached
did.
out before, and I'm so glad he accepted because
Yes.
we will be talking to one of the Hollywood ghost hunters, Rick
Mm-hmm.
McCallum. Mhm.
Yes, and we're going to bring him in right now.
Yes. Ah,
Well,
there
hello,
he is.
Rick.
I've been brought in. Holy
You
cow.
lost. You lost everything.
Now all of a sudden I'm like, here I am.
Yes.
You realize how many viewers you're going to lose after that thing came up?
Well, we still have one, so that's good.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. Still have one.
So what's the
So
viewer's name? Other stuff system. So how you doing, viewer?
Exactly. Well, we're gonna get a reaction. I hope.
yeah, I'm sharing it out all over, so I won't be looking into the screen all the time. Shared it out 5, 6 times now, and Lois
Yeah,
will
very
be
nice.
sharing, of course.
Hmm.
So I don't know if everyone here in the Netherlands and our listeners on TikTok knows who you are. So we told them you're one of the Hollywood ghost hunters. And you've done more than that. You are a stuntman, actor, producer. So what got you into the paranormal?
Well, they kind of drugged me in there. Um, but I guess I might as well introduce myself. Kane Hodder, who plays Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th movies, and myself started a group together because we were both in horror movies a lot. Kane's my best friend. I've known him for 43 years. We were just babies when we met. um, and then we added Ari Mihailoff, who played Leatherface, to our group. So we're all pretty much horror movie people. I played the title role of a group of a werewolf called Dark Wolf, and I've done roughly 75 movies. So, and I'm not the producer of Star Wars, although people keep thinking that I am.
Ah,
We just have the same name. So that's me.
Yeah, I was looking at your name and I was like, why is that? No, it doesn't add up. The Star Wars movie productions with you, it just
Oh,
doesn't.
no.
yeah,
I was like, no,
I'm
that's
not,
wrong.
yeah. That guy's actually lives in England most of the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was looking at it. I was like, something doesn't add up.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the nice thing. I am the second most famous Rick McCallum in the world.
True,
It's hard to beat
true,
out that produced Star Wars.
Yeah.
very true. So if they find out you're Rick McCallum and they don't know the face of the Star Wars producer, do they want to take pictures with you?
No, 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 no. Nobody actually. Usually, the people that do that are people that are looking up Google and they run across him and they run across me. Matter of fact, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the movies, you know, on IMDb, the International Movie Database, when they put the pictures of all the cast, half the time it's his picture instead of me when I was the one who did it. So, dirty rat.
Yeah.
Yep. Taking all the credits.
I
It's
tell
not a
you.
good thing. No.
Well, you know, if they would just confuse our checks, I'd be okay with it.
That would be cool. That'd be very cool.
Absolutely agree. If they switch off my checks with the other Mary, perfect.
Hello,
Exactly.
Willow.
What?
Willow
Willow
saying,
Morgan.
"Hey, my favorites. I'll
Ah,
share it out for you guys. Hey, Rick.
I don't
Hey,
see her
Willow.
comments. So,
Why don't?
there she is. I have it also on my phone and I don't see any comments. So,
Oh,
I
that's
don't
weird.
know what the problem is. Yeah,
Hmm.
I have to check it. But let's get started.
It'll be fine. Let's get started.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. You did work as a stuntman. Which movies did you do?
Well, I've done about 75 of them, so this might be a little bit long to be start telling them. I've done movies with Chuck Norris, Clint Eastwood, Rob Zombie, quite a few. I've done roughly 30 horror movies with my friend Kane Hodder, the guy who plays Jason.
Yeah.
And I've just, you know, been around a long time. I've acted, I've stunt coordinated, I co-wrote a movie that got produced. That was kind of fun. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I wrote the book that won the Paranormal Book of the Year award called Ghosts Believe in Me.
Yes.
So
I know that book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never read it though. I have to be honest, but I know the book. I know the title.
well, you know what? I haven't read it either.
You wrote it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't read it. I was like, yeah, I know what's in there.
Totally forgot. I wrote it down.
And
Go
it's
on.
in there. It's in there. Cool. Actually, I'm working on
Definitely.
I'm working on number 3, and
Okay.
there are a couple things in there that just will blow your mind if you're really into the ghost hunting stuff, because
Mhm.
I've been around for 1 billion years and nothing like this has ever happened. You want me to tell you what happened?
Yeah.
Always.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a favorite place to go to in Scotland called Balgony Castle. And for some reason, the laird of the castle, he was late 70s, I think, when I met him. And for some reason, he and I just, boom, we just bonded instantly, to the point where, I mean, he was telling me stuff and everything else. And finally he asked me, he goes, I had fallen and really messed up my knee. So I was limping pretty badly while we were going through there. And he asked me, he goes, do you think you can walk up 3 flights of stairs with that leg? And I said, you got a handrail? He goes, yes. Yeah, I can do it. So we started walking up, and I said, where are we going? He goes, I want to show you my private residence. Okay. Now, this is an old time castle. I want to see everything. So we're going up there, and my buddies from Scottish Paranormal, which I'm glad to say I'm a member of now, we're walking up the stairs, and one of them whispers to me, he goes, he's never invited us up there, right? So I was like, well, this is pretty cool. So we all go up there, and what a beautiful place. You go up there, and it's like a library, and it's got the red leather chairs and the huge stone fireplace. I mean, it was like from a movie. I mean, it was perfect casting. It was, you know, it was absolutely perfect. But for some reason, we just really got together, you know, really good friends. Well, I went back last year, and I was there with some friends of mine, ghost hunting together. And then the next time I went in there, I was there by myself with one of the guys, Gregor Stewart, who has written 24 books. Can you believe that? But he and I went in there, and we were talking to the laird very late at night, and he was getting tired, and he leans over and he tells me, because he told me a couple secrets about the Knights Templar, and he asked me not to say anything, and I never did. And he finally looks up at me and he goes, "Did you tell anybody what I told you?" And I said, "No." And he told me, "This is good because I only told you half of it." So then he tells me that about the Knights Templar being all over the place. They're still around, and that he actually was in charge of them. And I had kept the secret for so long. And one of the weirdest things is there's a girl named Heather Besser, who is the most amazing psychic I've ever come across. And she goes, and by the way, the Laird has passed away, right? That's why I'm talking about it, because now that he's gone, it was actually in his obituary. But Heather tells me I'm talking, and I said, "Yeah." I said, "Then my buddy, the Laird, passed away." And she goes, "Well, he has a message for you." So what's that? She goes, "You can tell the secret now." So, I mean, that blew me away when she said that.
Wow.
But he passed away, and we went back, the next year to ghost hunt there. And I was we were there as the Americans come ghost hunting, although people came to join us, and we were all through the whole place. And they said, "Okay, you're going to be in the museum room." And I'd been there a dozen times. I'd never been in the museum room, right? And we get down there, and it's small, and it's right next to his woodworking shop, because he was an expert in woodworking, leatherworking, painting. That was the reason he wanted to take me upstairs to his private residence. He had the 31 family crests that he had personally painted into the ceiling.
Wow.
Of the former lairds. So, I mean, that's amazing. You walk in, you see these 31 crests in there. They're big too. It's not like just little things. It was like a couple feet by a couple feet.
Mhm.
But we get in there, and all my friends that are there, they all know the story of me and the Laird, and these other people came in to join us, and I was telling them, about, what the equipment was and everything else. Now, we had everything around us that could possibly light up. We had K2s everywhere. We had REM pods. We had everything you can think of. And I start talking, and I go, "Are there any spirits here?" And everything in the room at the same time went off full strength, just everywhere at once. We're all like, "Holy crap, what is going on?" The girl from Fate, who does Fate magazine radio, real good friend of mine, she's sitting next to me. She turned around, she goes, "Look at the REM pod." And the way she describes it, it looked like fireworks going off. It was the most amazing thing. I've never seen so much energy from one place. She had 3 big batteries for her camera. All 3 of them died within a couple of minutes. Just
Wow.
brand new batteries, right? So anyway, I'm sitting there, and I look around, and all my 4 friends that are there are looking at me like, "How long is it going to take for you to catch on?" Right? And then I went, "Holy crap, it's the Laird!" Right, I was all excited, so I'm talking. Yeah, but it took me a while because I'm still trying to get the equipment. Both of the K2s that were sitting, I've never seen this in 40 years. 40, actually, I've been ghost hunting with equipment close to 50 years, but I've never seen this happen. Both K2 meters went all 5 lights and locked. As soon as the stuff went, they just stuck. I was trying to get to communicate. Finally, I said, "I got to turn it off and turn it back on," and came back on, and again locked up. And I was like, "Okay, this is something special." So I mean, you could feel the atmosphere in there. Everybody in the whole place was freaked out. So that's actually going to be an article in Fate magazine, so about what happened there. So that was amazing, and I'll never forget that one. But it was obvious. Even the other people that were there were like knocking me on the head. "Are you going to catch on that it's your friend?" You want to know how cool this guy was?
It had something.
Yeah,
It had something to do with the fact that everything went off at once and everything got drained at once. It got you flabbergasted until you reacted like, "Oh, wait a second, it's
the Laird." But, yeah. I was so flabbergasted by everything was going on. Everybody's like, "Holy crap, what is this?" Right? It looked like something they do in a horror movie. Everything's going off.
Yeah,
Cat balls are going off and they're not moving. It was like, but it was fantastic.
that's
But
a once in a lifetime thing.
yeah, well, it was strange. The very next night, something that was equally strange. We were in Inverness, and we got to go ghost hunt this graveyard, which nobody, as far as they knew, had ever ghost hunted there. Now, I'm sure there have been people who've gone there many times before us, but um, I need knee replacements. And we'd been walking for 9 miles that day. And my legs were just going, oh boy, sit down, right? So I'm looking all around, and I've been all through this graveyard with my K2 meter, and it hasn't blinked, hasn't gone off at all, right? So I'm looking around for a chair or a bench or something to sit on, and my knees are starting to wobble because we've been doing this for like 13 hours that day. And I look over, and I'm going to sit on the ground, and there's a tombstone that looked like a bench right next to me. And I went, well, okay. And then I looked down, and I said, look, I mean you no disrespect, but my knees are falling. I'm going to fall over. I need to sit down. I sit down, and there was a girl there from the other group. I sit down, and instantly the K2 goes all 5 lights, right? Instantly, right? So there was no doubt the gentleman that was underneath me saying, get your big fat ass off of me, right? So I just said, are you the one am I talking to you? Boom, 5 lights, right? And I said, do you want me to get off? Boom, 5 lights. And then I went, my knees are really, really sore. I said, like I said, I mean, no disrespect. Can I just sit here for 30 seconds? That'll help. And it twinkles on 2 and 3. I was like, okay. And then at about the 30-second mark, it goes, boom, 5 lights, right? The girl that's with me is just, because this was her first ghost hunt. She's just freaking out because, I mean, it was instant answers. I mean, it was like I was talking to the guy standing there. And finally I said, if you do it right now, we'll leave. Boom, 5 lights. And she's really freaking out. And she goes, what are we going to do? And I said, we're going to leave, right? So he got up. I don't know what the name was, but it was right over near the place where St. Columba used to be, across from St. Columba's place. But it was in Inverness proper. So, yeah, I actually told my friend Kat, the one with Fate magazine, and I said, you know what, I think I might stop ghost hunting. And she goes, why do you say that? I said, there's never going to be anything that's going to come close to these 2 things. I mean, these are so astounding. I'm never going to find something like that. And she goes, yes, you will. You'll keep ghost hunting. And I said, okay, why? She goes, because you've always kind of thought there were ghosts, and we've always looked for stuff. Now you know. I said, you bet I know. There's no doubt about it. But I was going to tell you something funny about the Laird, because he's a woodworker. He actually built his own coffin and put out the date he was born, and he left the date he was going to die blank, right? And it was right there in his woodworking shop, right? So all they had to do, or it wasn't his woodworking shop, it was in his room. So he just fully expected them to go, okay, he's gone now. Plunk. Right, and off he would go. So
That's smart.
Yeah, he made his own coffin.
Yeah, if you're handy like that, it saves you a lot of money as well.
Yeah. I've been in that place so many times that it never fails to come through. I mean, it's always something that's awesome. There's actually one thing they used to promote the place. We were all sitting down, and we had a Frank's box. Now, I'm sure your listeners know what that is. And everybody's talking, and it's not getting any responses. I said, you guys mind if I ask it? And they said, no, go ahead. I said, is there anything in the castle we have to worry about? And it said back with a Scottish accent, it went, the energy. Just like that. It was like, Mm.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
Later. Bye.
Gotta go. See you. Bye.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah.
That would be creepy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Had some real creepy things happen in my life, and well, I've had written 2 books now. The second one's called "The Spirits Are Out There and They're Waiting for You," and there's some stuff in there that'll just make you go, "Holy crap! This stuff really happens." And yeah, every word of it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
there's too much good stuff happens. You don't have to make stuff up.
Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, there's been a
Uh,
billion times when I've actually been sitting in the floor, of a very cold castle, abandoned castle by myself, and didn't get diddly squat, right? But that's
Yeah.
really not very interesting in a book, right? Everybody goes, yeah, but
Definitely.
all these things happen. I said, yeah, for everything that happened, 10 things didn't happen, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't put in the stuff that didn't happen. That would be stupid.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Boy, this
Definitely.
is boring. Just some guy sitting there on the floor all night.
Yeah. My grandpa has always asked why I was sitting in the dark talking to myself.
Because
He still, if he was still here, he would have said it. Still. I had an EVP last night. I told my spirit guide to show himself, and he said, I quote, "I'm right behind you." I said, "Well, I don't have eyes behind my head, silly," and he laughs.
that was pretty cool.
I would
You
have,
know,
I
when
would
you
have
get
loved to have that.
when
Yeah.
you get good EVPs, I mean I think EVPs and the Night of the Fleer are the 2 things that you really can't talk away. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
like with the EVPs, if you've got a location where there's no cross stuff that could be somebody else.
Mhm.
I'll give you, for instance, I was at the Birdcage Theater down in Tombstone, Arizona. Now this is back in the place where, and it's still set up pretty much the same way, where Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp and all those guys were there. The gunfight at the OK Corral, and this place, the Birdcage, had a 6-year, I think it was either 6 or 8-year poker game down in the poker room. Now, I don't mean that they closed up the place and came back. It was continuously playing for 6 or 8 years. What would happen is all the cowboys be down there. When somebody got up and left, somebody else got in, and it just kept going. And what was so funny was that 15 feet away was these rooms that the soiled doves, as they call them sometimes, plied their trade. And I mean, it's like right next to the people playing poker. It's so weird. But I went down there, and I was there, fortunately, got to ghost hunt with just Billy, the owner. So here's this big, beautiful, famous place, and we're the only 2 ghost hunting there. And I put up 9 pieces of equipment, around the place. Within 45 minutes, every one of them was dead. Right? So that was interesting. But I went down, picked up my night vision camera, and I got back to my hotel, and I started going over it. And as I was walking upstairs, I said, "Did you kill anybody down here?" Because there was a lot of shootings in the Birdcage back then. And then I walked another step up and stood there. I said, "Did you see anybody get killed?" And I went upstairs. Well, when I'm playing it back, I'm sitting there, and you can hear clear as day with a Mexican accent. Now, the reason I say Mexican accent, they were both right on the border. The Mexico and Tombstone. So there's probably more Mexicans in Tombstone than there were Americans. So, but I'm sitting back there, and you hear me say, "Did you ever shoot anybody, or did you kill anybody?" And a voice comes back, goes, "I had to." So
Wow.
I sent that back to Billy. Now I live 600 miles away from Tombstone, right? I sent that to Billy, and I said, "Billy, next time I come in, can I get back in there for 20 minutes? I got to see if he talks to me again." And he goes, "Oh, if you were here right now, I'd let you in because there's nobody here for half an hour." And I said, "Good, open the door. I'm standing in front." so, so
It
I
had
got
to be
down there,
like it.
yeah. So I got down there and I asked him again. I said, "Yeah, you told me you had to kill somebody." I said, "Did you ever see anybody get shot?" And the same voice goes, "Yes." So when you get interactions where you're actually talking to somebody, I mean, it's really hard to refute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and
It's
it's
just like
amazing.
it's just like with the FLIR when you all of a sudden there's some cold looking human sized thing go walking by, you're like, oh, okay, I can't walk that one away from here. So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I wish one day. I wish I will see something on the flare, but
I've,
not
I've
yet.
got
Now.
I've gotten some interesting stuff on the FLIR, which like, I think a lot of that is because I go ghost hunting all the time, and I pick up a lot of stuff, so it happens. The more you do stuff,
Yeah.
the more you get. It's just that the way it works, you know.
Absolutely.
Definitely. All right. Well, we're backed off from the questions because all the questions are in the rear now. Because now I have to look for the questions. I love the
Don't, don't,
questions.
don't worry, I can make hello into a mini series.
Yeah.
Well, I can
Just
tell
wait
you
to
about
ask
this.
for the.
I can tell you about this as long as we're sitting here with nothing to do. I've got a tour coming up to Ireland,
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's done with Secret Ireland Tours. On the back, if you can see this,
Yeah.
if you just hit that, it'll go to that. But it's in September, the first week of September. It's an 8-day thing. We're going to go ghost hunting
Yep.
in all over Ireland. So come join us. I'm really looking forward to being the ambassador for all that.
Yeah. I will share it out. I already did once because I came across it. And
Yep.
yeah, Dave Schrader is also coming, if I'm correct.
Dave's already been there, and he'll probably be back next year too.
Yeah.
You know what's so strange?
Cool.
Dave Schrader and I ghost hunt very similarly. Because when I see my
Okay.
TV, I go, "That's pretty much what I do."
Okay.
You know the one question I get all the time because I get my name called all the time. Everywhere I go, my name gets called,
Yeah.
and I've got it on tape a gazillion times. But somebody finally called me out on it. Oh, I got you now, right? And we were down at the LA Police Museum, and my name gets called again. And somebody said, "Well, why does your name get called all the time?" Right? Kind of accusing me of something. I said, "Do you remember when I first came in here?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Hello, my name is Rick." I said, "Did any of you introduce yourself?"
Yep.
I said, "I'm the only person in here. They know my name." Okay, that's why it comes up. So it's strange. I mean, I try to be polite when I walk in.
Yeah, but
Not,
you have to.
I'm usually not like that in real life, though. But with the spirits, I try to be nice and kind.
Yeah, but you get more reactions if you are respectful. You introduce yourselves. You just talk like regular people.
Yeah. Anybody that tries to start provoking, I shut them down like instantly.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen here.
Nope. Laura says it's called respect. You respect them, they respect you.
Yeah,
That's true.
exactly.
Well, I have a thing because I get this question on podcasts a lot. How do you ghost hunt? And I said, well, here's the secret. Imagine you went out to your backyard and there was a puppy in there, a little lost puppy. What would you do? And they said, well, I talk quiet to it and stick my hand out and things like that. I said, so you'd be nice and let it come to you? Yeah. I said, there's your answer.
Yeah.
You can't chase a ghost. You can't hunt a ghost. They will come to
Nope.
you if they want to. Otherwise, go home with nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just
I have to remember that. That's a very easy explanation. I'm so going to remember this.
Yeah.
I always try to explain it, but it's for me it was very hard to explain it because skeptic people are like, yeah, right, and it's very hard to explain how you do your ghost hunts or your paranormal investigations. But this one is a very good explanation. I have to remember that.
well, I try to tell people too. They say, well, why do you get so much? And even very experienced ghost hunters will say the same thing. They'll say, Rick gets more stuff than anybody I've ever seen. And it's kind of true, right? I don't know why, but I think I'm kind of linked into it because I have a theory that if you've been doing it a long time and you build up your own energy, and I
Yeah.
do believe that spirits can read the energy. So if you have a kind energy, they'll come to you. So
Yeah,
I really do
I
think
agree.
that after a while, they can read your energy, and
Yeah.
that's who they decide they're going to come to. So
Agreed.
so be
Definitely.
nice when you go there.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's a couple
Yeah,
of
they call me a big teddy bear, cuddly teddy bear. So
well, that's what you got to do. It's
Hmm.
see, my thing is, I walk into a place and I'm like 6'4", 230 pounds, and I got this face going for me. So most people are like, hmm. Right, so,
it can't be that bad.
and, yeah, well, there's a reason they always covered me in monster suits when I went on. I was at the
A good
gym
one.
one day. I was at the gym one day, and this girl says to me, she goes, you're kind of handsome. And I said, then answer me this. Why is it every time I go on a movie set, they cover my face with foam?
Yeah, good one. Definitely. Joanne Ismail says, "Hi everyone." We have May Hernan. Hi Rick, looking good. Hi everyone who is tuning in.
Hi, May. I was just talking about the tour.
Oh,
Oh,
she's
how
a sister
cool.
living in the Netherlands. See,
Oh,
small
how
world.
cool. Yeah, it
Did you say
is.
Very
small?
small world.
Not if you have to walk and swim, my friend. It's very big.
True,
Uh,
true.
it's a fast swim. It is.
All right, the Netherlands is a small country.
It is, but many people knows it.
Well, I know where it
No, they
is.
don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
when we
in
would
the
have said
area of
Amsterdam.
Iceland.
Yeah.
Yeah, say Amsterdam. I know where that is. I may go there this year just because of that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nah, it's just a small country, and it
Well,
doesn't. It's
excuse me. You know the girl that just popped in, May Hernan?
Yeah.
She's actually the head of Secret Ireland Tours.
Okay.
So,
nice.
yeah. May, I did talk about the tour.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna
and we
share
will.
it out.
Yeah, absolutely everywhere.
Well,
And
Definitely.
she's come up with some really good ghost hunting places. And it's if I wasn't the ambassador, I'd be signing up. So I mean, she takes payments, so you got like 9 months to it's make it so it's not like one big whack out of your pocket.
Yeah.
So sign up, people. Come join me. We're gonna have a good time because I'll make you have a good time. I'll choke you if you're not having a good time. Have fun, have fun.
It's gonna be a fun time then, definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm kind of scared
Oh,
now.
Well, the funny part is the guy who plays Jason, Kane, and I, like I said, we've
yeah.
been best friends. Well, he may not say I'm his best friend, but we've been best friends for 43 years, and we're very much alike. And when we're together on the movie set, look out! Just look out.
I believe you.
Yeah, he's never going to admit that.
Yeah, he would. We did the TV show Ghost Adventures. I don't know, which was,
Yes, I
I've seen it.
remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
and we were actually, I think, the only group. I don't know if it's still the case. At the time, it was to actually ghost hunt with them.
Mm.
Usually they came in and said what happened, and they'd throw them out, and then they would ghost hunt. Well, we ghost hunted with them.
Yeah.
And what was funny is Kane's sitting there, and he's talking to Zach, and he asks Kane, he goes, "Don't you ever worry about all these people you've killed that might spill over to what you actually do in real life?" And he goes, sometimes I just, and he gets him in a chokehold. And he looks at me, he goes, "I just want to." Oh, sorry.
Oh, I love that.
Well, another one we did on the set. We're standing there. There's like four of us, and it's kind of crowded in this one area. And this girl goes by, right? And she goes, "Excuse me," and he goes, "Ooh." And she goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "You said squeeze me." She goes, "No, I said excuse me." He goes, "Oh, my bad."
I love it. I love it.
I would so laugh my ass off.
Yeah,
I swear.
me too.
That's my
Absolutely.
kind of humor.
Well, I'll tell
Definitely.
you what else you'll find funny. R.A., the guy who plays Leatherface,
Yeah,
is 6'5" and 340 pounds. It's huge. And
he
Yeah.
he's so proud of how big he is. Now, I will go up to him when he's got a bunch of people, like we're in a convention. Me and Kane will walk up there. And I'll walk up, I'll say, "All right, you're looking huge. What are you, about 6'2" and 265 pounds?" And he'll turn into Hulk Hogan. If you know who he is, he'll go, What do you mean? I'm 6'5" and 340 pounds of coiled steel and sex appeal, brother. Right? And Kane will go over at him and they go, "You had sex with a banana peel?" "No, brother. That's not what I said." So we love to mess with him. You know why? Because we can outrun him. So actually, I can't outrun anybody with my knees unless I get scared. I almost had a car run me over the other day. I was in the middle of an intersection, come ripping around the corner going fast, and it got about 15 feet away from me. And I was like, "Run," because he's not moving. And all of a sudden, I see his head turn around and see me, and you can see his eyes like he didn't see me at all. And all of a sudden, I went, and I got across. I was like, "Well, if my knees didn't need to fail me, I was glad it was right there that they came through." Because there was a pickup truck. It would have splattered me all over the place.
Yeah, but adrenaline does a lot
yeah.
to the human body.
Changed my last name to Ricky Adrenaline.
Yeah.
That way people will stop thinking I'm that Star Wars producer.
No.
Yeah,
We
it's always
made
going to happen.
Star Wars.
It's always going to happen that way.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, we know who you are, so.
Well, I usually go at night by Brad Pitt. I don't think anybody confuse us.
Oh, you look alike.
Yeah, we're like twins.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
See, the girl was right. You're kind of handsome.
Yeah. I would think that ruggedly handsome might go might work. I mean, you can look and you can tell I've been punched in the face many times.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Well, I've got tons of stitches in my face and my lips, above my eyebrows.
Oh, you wouldn't say.
Yeah, I lived a rough. I got it right here above here. I've got a scar where I got 30 stitches right up in here.
How'd you get that?
A golf ball hit me when we were playing golf. Guy teed off right next to me and hit me right in the face.
It wasn't even a movie?
No, didn't get paid. It cost me. Guy said he'd pay for all the stuff at the hospital. He didn't. I ended up having about $500 out of my pocket. But yeah,
That's bad.
30 stitches there. I've got probably six here. I probably had, I don't know, crap load up there.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stitches. Laura says you look good for your age there, Rick.
Well, you had to go for your age, huh, Laura? You couldn't just say you look good. Just, come on, man. Throw me a bone.
Laura, he's just 21. He's not that old yet.
No,
He's 21.
lots of experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now we're getting it.
Damn right.
All right. back to the questions because I found the question.
Oh, okay.
Um, how did
Shane,
Hollywood Ghost Hunters start?
Shane, in 75 movies, like 2 books, there's got to be something in there that you can ask about. How did it
Oh
got?
yeah, we have more than enough questions, but we have a list, and then when we get off that list, we lost it.
Oh,
You lost that. You.
I did it.
No, you.
Me. I'm, I'm sorry. But anyway, Hollywood Ghost Hunters got started in Mansfield Reformatory, which is famous for where they did Shawshank Redemption.
Mhm.
And it's a very, very haunted prison. It's huge, and they use it for a lot of horror movies because the cells are kind of getting rusty, and it's really long. And we and one night we were out way in the back of the place, and they just finished shooting, so there was nobody else in the building. And we're walking back, and the only lights on are the moonlight coming in through the windows, right? So it's
Yeah.
about as creepy as you can make it.
Mhm.
And we're walking down the way, and I look up and I see a shadow figure walking down at the end, right? So I go to tell Kane, and he's gone. And I thought, oh, great, even the scary Jason guy runs away, right? And I turned around, and he's running forward. And I went, okay, if I ever start a ghost hunting group, he's got to be my partner. So I talked about it. I never knew he liked ghost hunting, and he was actually into it too. So we just started our own group. And then RA likes to say that we asked him to join because we needed prettier people. So then we actually got Danielle Harris, who was the little girl in Halloween, the one that's chasing around in the clown suit with the scissors. She's
Yeah.
actually was the star of 3 of the Hatchet movies that I was in. So we dragged her into the group to actually get somebody pretty because RA wasn't upholding his end of the bargain.
Well, you could have just steal the Jason Voorhees mask.
No, they're all over the place. I've got one in my back room.
Oh, exactly. I need to buy
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
so I can wear it so nobody will see me. It's not for prop. It's just I'm gonna wear it.
my only
Definitely.
problem with mine is it's autographed. Some guy grabbed it when I showed it to him and signed it.
He had to.
Yeah.
When I say, he just had to
Love
do it. I can't wear it at Halloween.
Why
We
not?
got a greetings from Ontario, Canada.
Hello, Canada.
What you were saying?
No, I said I can't wear the Jason mask because it's got writing on it. It's not very scary.
Yeah. And it
People
doesn't
come up
fit.
to you, you're supposed to be looking scary, and they come up to you and they're looking to read what it says.
Exactly. Stand still. Wait a second.
Yeah, you
Oh,
know what
okay.
it says? You know what it says? If you read what's up here, I'll kill you.
That would be cool. That would be very cool. I will
You,
start
you,
reading it.
you have to talk to him like Liam Neeson did in Taken. I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Yeah, that's the famous sentence. If
Yeah,
somebody would have said that to me on the phone, I would probably be like, okay. Why?
Gotta go see why.
Click. Dee, dee, dee.
Yeah.
That's so funny. But I do have a particular set of skills that I've learned over the years that make me a nightmare for people like you. Right? I just love that thing.
Well, you're doing it pretty good as well. The voice sounds
Yeah.
like.
Well, that's actually kind of how when I get mad, people come up, you kind of get in your face. Matter of fact, the last tour I did, this guy did, and I just stood there and talked to him like that, and he just kind of went, "Ugh." People get really scared when you just talk to them quietly and look them in the face.
Mhm.
And you're making a big mistake, my friend.
Exactly. The madder you get, the less scary it is or something.
Yeah.
Well, there isn't anybody that's See, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. It's a tough place. I mean, there's a lot of gangs. There's a lot of. By the time you're like 13, if you have all your own teeth, they think you're a sissy. It's like, so yeah, it's you learn to amp things down, but you can show them the anger just by looking at them and talking to them quietly. It's will really solve a lot of problems for you. Although I did hear one guy, heard a comedian, he said, he says, what I do when people pick on me, I just speak Russian because everybody's afraid of the Russians. And these two guys come up and they said, all right, give us your money. And he goes, I'm not going to give you my money. Right? And he goes, well, why not? And he goes, this is a bad neighborhood. And he goes, oh, this neighborhood is where we go for vacation.
It worked, did it?
Yeah. That's
that's bad.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that.
Yeah.
I would probably pay to see that.
This is what we're
something like that.
Yeah. So I am going back to Scotland.
Yeah.
Got some more unfinished business over there, and basically the same people that went on with me. Now I have to tell a little story. I was the ambassador for another tour. It wasn't May's tour, okay, and a lot of things that we should have done we didn't get to do. Let's just put it that way, okay. And let's just move along. And then May called me and asked if I would do her tour, and May's got a great reputation, so I said okay. So I decided with my 4 friends who wanted to go back to Scotland that I would ask each one of them what their dream places were to go, because there were other places that they'd wanted to see that were promised that didn't get to, So they actually. Oh, it's a dog.
Right. Yeah, right.
Okay. Just in case.
You never know.
But I asked all of them where they most wanted to go. And then fortunately, from having enough connections of being there so many times and being actually, I'm a lifetime member of the Scottish Paranormal, and I'm actually in their Hall of Fame, which is kind of cool. And the only reason I brag about that is because I'm not in any other Hall of Fame. So got to get that out of the conversation. The Scottish Paranormal may be the best ghost hunting group in the world. They're really, really good. Proud to be part of them. But yeah, there's so many things. We ended up getting to go. You guys are probably familiar with a lot of places there. We got to go into the Bannockburn house, which most people don't. We got to go to Castle Mengus. We got to go to 3 places that had never been ghost hunted before. We went to the Writers Museum, which has never been ghost hunted before. We've gone to the Ladies' Lair, which was in Inverness, I think. Not Inverness. I can't remember where that was. But we managed to we went to Culloden, we went to, all these different places that all the people put on the list. And we managed to get everything they had on their list. So it was so much fun going with there. And actually, all of them are going with us to Ireland. So
cool.
Looking forward to do like that.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, I've done a lot of ghost hunting with them. I mean, they're all really, really good. I mean, there's Kat Hobson, who's the Fate magazine person, Laurie Dorsey, who's extraordinarily good, Mikey Thompson, who's just as good with audio, and he actually takes all the drone footage for us. And his wife, Julie, is just getting into it, and I'll tell you a little story about Julie. She was brand new at all this and stuff, and I don't know if she was really into it or not. And then when we went to the Inverness graveyard, I'm walking along by myself, and I look over and I see somebody standing there, and I see Julie with a K2 meter all by herself talking to the spirits. I was like, yeah, hooked another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you know, you just know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And she was getting stuff on the K2 meter, so that was pretty good. I was walking around, I couldn't get anything.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah, so it's a lot of fun when you see other people just getting into it. You know,
Hmm.
that's kind of fun too.
It is
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had our fair share with newbies that we found that were like, oh, yep, they're
Yeah.
staying.
Yep.
A lot of newbies you never see again.
A lot of them, yeah.
If something
You
really,
share this,
if something intense happens and they're newbies,
yeah,
you might not see them again.
out the
Yep.
door, not
I
coming
will,
back.
I will tell you one of the really nice things of ghost hunting, though. Um, I used to be one of the people that was the in-house ghost hunting tour people. There's me and Mikey, and then there was special guests that would come in that were well known from the TV shows and things like that. And we were at the LAPD Museum, Los Angeles Police Department Museum, and inside this place, it held all the evidence from all the big murders and everything else, the Sharon Tates, the Manson family,
Mm.
Marilyn Monroe, all of that evidence is in this place, and it gives off an energy. And there's one place there, the North Hollywood Shootout Room, where the two mannequins are behind glass and they're dressed in the same thing. When they shot between 1,200 and 1,700 bullets at the police and people across the street while they were robbing the bank. They hit 20 people but didn't kill anybody. SWAT team killed 2 people. I guess you could probably guess who they were. The guys behind the glass. Well, everybody that goes in there gets such a horrible feeling. I remember we were doing a live thing for the Dark Zone TV, and none of the people wanted to go in. And finally, I said, I'll go in there. Right. And I walked in. I walked up to the mannequins. I said, I have no idea why anybody is afraid of you. I said, you're the worst bank robbers I've ever heard of. You walked out in the middle of the daytime with masks and things out the front door, right on a busy street. Right. I said, a cop saw you as he was driving by. You shot 12 to 1,700 bullets at the police and you didn't kill anybody. Why is anybody afraid of you? Right. So then everybody went in and started talking, but they were still really creeped out. But I will tell you something really interesting. Mikey calls me up, Mikey Thompson, and he says, yeah, we're going back to the LAPD museum this week. And he says, I've got an idea. Because this was broadcast all over the United States while because this shootout was going, they're moving all around outside and the police were flying in. And he says, let's play he said, bring a speaker in. Let's play what they were talking about on the newscasts. Right. And I said, I
Smart.
got a better idea. But I said, I love the idea of playing something. I said, let's try this. Let's try playing the machine gun fire. Right. And he goes, oh, that's a great idea. So we got this stuff that was on there and we all kind of weasel our way into the room. We're all standing there watching. And Mikey hits it, turns it on, and he's using his SLS camera. Now, for the people that aren't familiar with SLS camera, it makes objects that it's picking up look like skeletons, and they move and everything else. Well, as soon as that thing went off, it couldn't have been 10 seconds. Boom! The two things right behind the mannequins showed up. And what looked to me like a fist fight between the two of them, and one of them knocks the other one out of the glass, and it looks like he's kicking him. Right? I was like, wow, they didn't like each other much in real life, even.
Mm-mm.
But that was so cool. And that's the only reason I bring that up is sometimes if you introduce something different to your ghost hunting, like with the speakers and stuff, I mean, it just blew up. I mean, it was amazing. But the thing I was going to tell you that sometimes you get something really cool. This was the same night at the LAPD Museum. There was a father and a young girl who I would guess was about 14. And they were kind of just staying in the back and not interacting. And I was afraid they weren't having a very good time. So we were doing the Estes method. Now that's when you have the earphones and the dark, the blindfold. And I looked out at the young girl and I went down. I said, would you like to do this? She goes, yes. And her father had gone around. Evidently, he really liked ghost hunting. He'd gone around to a different room. So they were fixing her up upstairs. It's like 5 stairs to go up, and then it's a little room. And then you can see everybody because it's a landing is all it really is. And they're getting her set up. I get him, and he comes down. He's standing at the bottom of the stairs. And she had the most intense, thing I'd ever seen. I mean, to the point where I stopped it because she was getting in a little too deep. And when I was done, when they got done, she walks down the stairs, and the father, who'd been very, he just grabs her and he goes, "Oh, honey, I'm so proud of you." And I'm like, yes.
It worked.
Yeah. Yes. So sometimes you get other things when you're ghost hunting too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it is. Definitely is.
I have a friend at that. I actually have a friend at that LAPD. I've made friends with the spirits there, which sounds silly, but every time I go there, he mentions my name. He responds quite a few times when I ask things.
Cool.
And I remember we were doing another thing for Dark Zone TV, and they had like a 14-foot conference table downstairs. Now, this guy's name was Walter, and he was the first motorcycle policeman killed in action for the police. And they've got like a little shrine to him down there. Well, I was upstairs, and I come downstairs, and I set my K2 meter down, and there's 2 others that are equally spaced, right? And the girl, Melissa St. Hilaire, who's an amazing psychic, is there. And she goes, "Yeah, we were talking. We got a name. We weren't sure. I think it's Arthur." I said, "It's probably my buddy. Hey, Walter, are you here?" And all 3 K2s went off at the same time. And everybody went, "Whoa!" So me and Walter are buddies over there. But now they don't have the ghost hunting in there anymore, which is a shame because it's as haunted as any place in California, probably anywhere in America. And they could make a lot of money off it if they weren't. Did you guys hear that?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Somebody said something right next to me.
Nice.
We have to listen back later.
Yeah.
Yeah, mark the time.
Yeah.
58.
That's 58, yeah. Something 50, 15, 58, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like 2 words, like, what? Walter,
Yeah, sorry you're reacting to it.
Walter, was that you? You know what it could be? It could be my, what do you call that? Google, my little Google thing there that talks when you ask you questions. But when I turned over, it wasn't lit up, and it wasn't that.
You hear a tone if your Google reacts. You hear a tone.
Yeah,
Yeah, you hear bling.
Yeah. I mean, besides that, they don't just go dot dot. They're pretty clear what they say.
Yeah.
So, but this house here has its moments. Let's put it that way.
I think
in my
I
first
think if you go out that much, I think you can take a lot of things with you as well. Not the bad things, but the good things.
I've had that happen, and if anybody who reads goes on Amazon, Ghosts Believe in Me, there's a part in there that something attached to me, and just not trying to be melodramatic, but it almost killed me. And it was somebody said, they said, well, it happened at Lep Castle, and we're going back to Lep Castle. They said, you go back again? I said, yeah, it's not going to happen again. I said, this guy attached, he wanted me to know what happened to him, and he was replaying what happened to him to me. And all of a sudden my vision went out, all my energy went out of me, and I'm sitting in the car, right? Because it hit me when I was standing outside. The guys got me back into the car. And I'm just sitting there, and I was out there probably about 10 minutes as each one of these things started going. The first time I looked and I saw my vision, it started going. I was like, well, that's not good, right? And then the old time movies with the iris where it would go whoop, and that meant the end of the movie. A lot of it was on cartoons. We go away. My eyesight started doing that, started closing off. And I know you guys have been on airplanes. Everybody's been on an airplane. You know, when you flush the toilet and it's so powerful,
Yeah.
from here down, all of a sudden my energy just went out of me. And I was just like, and my vision's going, and I was like, I'm dying. I
Yeah.
mean, I could feel it. I was just, I'm dying. And I don't know why. I just said out loud, I said, you know, I've got to see a lot of things I've never seen before. I've made, you know, met people that I never thought I would, got to see exotic places. If today's my day, I'm okay with it. And just within a couple minutes, I could feel the energy coming back. Right. And well, what had happened is when I was outside, just to give you a quick thing, something felt like a spear went through my eye and out the back of my head, and I threw my hand up there, and water started gushing out of there, and it felt like Mike Tyson hit me. That's how powerful it was.
Yeah.
And I went staggering backwards, and I'm out there, and I see the road, and I thought, you know, Ricky, you've done stunts for 43 years, and I'm about as close to being knocked out as possible. And I just went, you know, why don't you go down there before you fall? Go down there when you can control it. So I started to go down, and I heard a voice say to me, if you hit the ground, you'll never get up. So I put it in reverse. No, we'll come back up again right before we go down. So I go over and I'm hanging on the car, and one of the guys gets out, and he comes over and he's got hold of me, a guy named Allie. And these are the Scottish Paranormal guys. And he takes me behind the car, gets me some water. He goes, come on, get back in. Now, it was cold and windy. And I thought, something's going to wake me up. This would be good, right? Reminded me of being on the south side of Chicago, and, you know, in the fall and in early winter. So finally they said, okay, we got to drive in, because we were out in front of the place. They had a party in it. We weren't at Lep Castle yet. We're in the road out in front of it. So I get in the car, we get there, and I said, just leave me here. So I'm sitting in the car, and every once in a while I would get the feeling somebody was close by, and I'd look at the window, and one of the guys would be peeking in to make sure I wasn't dead, right? Which was really cool of them. But all of a sudden, my energy just started coming back up, right? And they came back out, and I said, yeah, bring me inside. So I went in, I sat there for like 10, 15 minutes or so, I guess. I said, I'm ready to go. Right? All my energy, I could see everything came back. Well, the thing that really got me was a couple of weeks later, one of the Scottish Paranormal guys sent me a message, and we'd stopped at a different castle. I don't remember which one it was. And we had just been at, what was the name of that place? It's actually on the cover of, what is the name of that place? I'll tell you here in a second. No, I won't. It's not on there. But yeah, it was amazing. I'm all over the place right now trying to remember. But it wasn't the famous place. It was this other place we'd stopped. And he says, I just found out something. He says, 2 guys had a duel at the place that we stopped. He says, one guy got shot through the right eye and died.
No.
Oh my God.
So that's when I figured that guy attached himself to me. And I think he just wanted his story to be told. Someone to, boy, he told it in all capital letters. Let's put it that way. So
Definitely. But do you think that the moment you said, well, if I die today, it's fine, I'm okay with that?
well, I
That
think
helped?
that he heard that. And he was like, oh, no, I don't want that. No, that's not what.
Yeah.
And he backed off. So thank you.
Yeah.
Mm.
That I think it has something to do with that then, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the place I was trying to think of was the Hellfire Club, which is also amazing. Hellfire Club,
Yeah.
yeah. Very, very haunted. And I had another one of those things that's unexplainable happened at the Hellfire Club. two of the people from that were with the group, they were using the Frank's box, and they weren't getting anything. I said, "Can I try?" They said, "Yeah." Now, one of my relatives actually had been one of the members of the Hellfire Club, the original one, and that was one of the reasons that's one of the reasons they invited me to go along with them. And I got over and I said, "Hi, my name is Rick. I'm from the United States. I came over here to talk to my relative, John Wilkes, right?" And it doesn't say anything. I said, "Yeah, I just, I'm your relative from the United States, and I just wanted to say hello." And it goes, "Hi, Rick," right? And I went, "Whoa," right? And
Nice.
yeah, so then I go, "Yeah, I'm your relative, and I just wanted to say hi," right? And he goes, "Relative?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm your relative." And I said, "I have to ask you a question, because this was a very famous thing that happened in England. You guys might have heard of this." I asked him, I said, "This will prove to me if we're related, because I would have done the same damn thing." And I go, "Did you really dress a baboon up like Satan and turn it loose into the Hellfire Club?" Right? And you hear, "Baboon." Where in the course of like 3 minutes would you hear my name, relative, and baboon? Never, right?
No.
And I looked over at the people. I said, "Oh man, this is going to be a great recording." And you go, "Oh, we're not recording."
No way. Oh,
Yep. Those are the moments like. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
F-bomb.
Although in my book, and I'm not trying to sell the book, because to be honest with you, any of the money that comes in from the book, I give to St. Jude's Hospital, Children's Hospital. So I'm not trying to earn money here. But just some of the stuff that happens, that are in the book, you have to have somebody else. I always like to have, if somebody else was there, I let them tell their own version, and I don't edit it or anything else. I just let them put their own version, and I put a gray box behind it so you can tell when someone else is talking. So I think that gives more validity to what happened. If other people that
Yeah.
were there, "Yeah, I was standing right there. I heard it. I saw it."
Yeah.
And most of the time they'll be off by a little bit, right? Which I think still gives it extra value, because it's obviously not say this, say this, say this. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
number 3 is coming out. Hi, Scott.
Hello.
Scott's my buddy.
Ah. That was a very convincing hi.
Hello.
And I have a question. Has there been any location which made you jump?
A lot of them. Balgoni. Balgoni actually got slapped in the back of the head.
Okay.
Right? This girl hollered. She goes, "Rick!" And all of a sudden, right? And I turned around and looked, and there's nobody near me. They're all sitting down there. I said, "What happened?" She goes, "I saw something starting to come out of the floor, and bam, whacked me in the head."
Ow.
Yeah. I got shoved down the stairs at another place in San Diego. Yeah, sometimes it gets a little rough, generally not. I mean, I've been on 500 ghost hunts probably in my life. I mean, I've been doing this. I hate to explain this, but you can tell I'm kind of old because this isn't paint, right?
Nah.
But I've actually been ghost hunting for 57 years, probably longer than anybody else, right? But there's so many places that are just scary. I mean, Balgoni was scary to begin with, not so much now. Lep Castle was, Hellfire Club was, the LAPD Museum is, the Reformatory, where we founded our group, is it was pretty scary. But there's other places too. The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. There's all kinds of places that are really pretty haunted. There's a place called Wolf Creek Inn up in Oregon, and man, that place was active. And I had a REM pod all the way on the other side of the room, and I had my K2 with me. I was sitting on the bed, and I started talking, and I started getting answers through the K2. And I said, if you're really here, can you turn on that, over there and touch that antenna, right? I was like, okay. Right, so I'm sitting there again, and then I said, do it again. I was like, oh, all right. So, yeah, I've done a lot of stuff like that. I mean, I did a series of live ghost hunts that were broadcast. There was one Phelps Dodge Hospital, which was very haunted. I mean, there's just a lot of places. If you read them right, you'll get stuff.
Yeah.
If you go in there like little Sloan, they're not going to do anything for you.
No.
You got to go in there and be nice. Just imagine you're a guest at someone's house. You wouldn't act like a jerk. I mean, I would act like a jerk because that's just what I am. But that's just that's the way I roll.
Well, you're still welcome.
Yeah. Why in the world? I've always tried to figure this out. Why in the world would somebody think if I go over and yell and call you names, that something I can't see, can't hear, is going to want to respond to me?
Yeah, no.
I'll probably be standing like this, and you won't even see it.
Or slapping me in the back of the head. I didn't say anything bad at all. Yeah, that and getting pushed down the stairs, that was pretty scary.
Yeah. Is there something that happened before that? Did somebody provoke something or something?
No, there was no provoking. I was actually there with the San Diego Ghost Hunters, and there was a girl that I was with who was a model that was really into ghost hunting, so I brought her along. And as we came around the corner, we were upstairs, they were downstairs doing a session, with the spirit box. As we're going down, she goes, why don't we just sit up here on the stairs until they're done and not interrupt them? So she sat down a stair behind me, and I was a couple stairs ahead of her. And I started to sit down. It's a good thing my big butt was already going towards the ground because it gave me a different, center of balance.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, just tried to launch me, and it pushed me so hard that my face almost hit my knees. Went woof, right, but I was able to catch my balance and not go down the stairs. And she screams. The people all come out. What happened? They said, well, Rick got shoved, and So then another one that was really cool. We go walking in, and the spirit box goes, beware, danger. What did it say? Wasted, right? Outside, right? So the girl that was the docent of the place and the head of the San Diego Ghost Hunters looks out there, and there's three guys drunk trying to break the fence to come in. So she goes out, and I go walking out. I'm standing up on the, on the stairs, and her friend walks up. She's standing on the stairs. And these guys they're drunk, and they were getting real mouthy with it, and they're trying to shove the gate open. It's chained shut, right? They're trying to shove it open, and they're starting to get rude to her, which I did not particularly care for, right? So I walked down there, and I said, beat it, right? And they said, why? What are you going to do? I said, open the gate. And they went, what? Right? So open the gate, right? So they're like this. I said, you got two options now. You can get the hell out of here, or I'm coming through this gate. Now, she's going to call the police on you because you're drunk and disorderly, number one. Then you're going to go to jail after that. Oh, and the thing earlier, it said police. And the thing when it said, that's why I said it. This is, we'll call the police. So then they flip us off and they went. But the one guy, he just says to me, he goes like this. He goes, yeah, well, who's going to stop? I said, you can't come in there. He goes, who's going to stop us? And I smell it. I said, me. Open the gate. Right? So I kind of threw him off a little bit. But as we went back up there, the girl that was with me, Brandy, had come out, heard that there was a thing. So she came down there. And as we were turning around coming back, she goes, "Wow, that was pretty brave with that." I said, "See the girl standing up on the stairs? She's an NCIS agent. You know
Yeah.
they carry guns."
Yeah.
So she was just standing up there like this, just watching what's going on. She was only probably about 20 feet away, right? But I knew I had some more backup there, so I knew Brandy for a model would dive in there and bite somebody. So
Yeah, they usually do. They
yeah.
can do that.
Oh, girl.
They
And that,
underestimate models, but they
well,
can do a lot.
well, I got to tell you, one of the other books that I'm writing is actually about the most badass women in the history. And there's
Cool.
so many women have been so overlooked about things, and I always hear these things. It just makes me so mad. Girls saying, "You can do it, girls. You can do it. You've already done it. All right.
Hmm.
There is nothing to say you can't do it. Right? You can
No.
do just as good as the men. Well, 90% of the men are abject failures in the first place, so you can certainly catch up to them. So
Yeah, definitely.
but there's some.
I
Yeah,
have, to
some
jump, I have to jump downstairs for a second.
don't jump, just walk.
use the
Yeah.
stairs. Hang out of the rail. But yeah,
And Mary's a person like if you say she can't do it or she's not supposed to do it, she's gonna do it.
yeah. I mean, women are so much tougher than men give them credit for. I mean,
Definitely.
so I mean, if you think back, I saw a meme that was really cool. It was on Facebook, and it showed one guy. It was like the three really rich guys out here. One says, "I invented Facebook. I invented this. I invented that." And underneath is the actress who invented Wi-Fi. She's a smile. She's going, "I invented Wi-Fi."
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah, I have to say people don't give women, especially men, don't give women enough credit if it comes to that.
well, there's a very famous thing, and you guys probably know about it over where you're at, of a woman named Boudica. Now,
Yeah.
Boudica was the queen of this small place, and the Romans decided they wanted it. So they came over there and killed her husband, raped her two young daughters who were both under 11 in front of everybody, and beat her up and threw her into the slammer. Well, she finally got out, and she raised an army, and she killed 70,000 Romans. She burned 2 cities to the ground, right?
Yep.
Don't tell me women don't have backbone, right? They
They
finally
have
got
backbones and
well,
they
yeah.
have more balls than most men.
Yeah.
Girls can be vicious, and I try and explain this in the book too. Have you ever heard the thing "never mess with a mama grizzly"?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. There's a reason. Who does the hunting for all the food with the lions? The
The
lionesses.
woman.
Who
Yeah,
does
the women.
the fighting? The lionesses. Right? And if it starts to get out of control, then you hear, "Roar," and here comes comes the daddies, and they jump in there because they're like 10 times bigger than the lionesses.
Hmm.
But I mean, if you just look at nature, I mean, it's the lionesses do the fighting, the mama grizzlies will rip your arms off.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's gonna
women
be
have more balls.
that's like the basis of the book. Is just like, come on, girls, read this. There's so much thing that Adam Curie. I mean, there's another one. I mean, there's all over the place. And in fact, one of the girls invented kung fu, one of the forms of kung fu. Never hear stuff like that. They never hear anybody talk about that. It's about time they did.
Yeah.
Go
Definitely.
ladies! I might name that the thing in the book. Go ladies! You already broke the glass ceiling.
Yep.
I'm
Agreed.
ready. The third book that I'm writing about ghost hunting and all the stuff that happened to me. I'm thinking about titling it. My guardian angel is called for backup.
Yeah, I think you have to call it that way. It's a
Yeah,
very
Yeah.
suiting title.
yeah.
Yeah. And putting a guardian angel on the front with her head like this and a glass of wine.
A glass of wine. Or
Well,
just
I know
have,
mine looks like that.
or just have one on the phone.
Calling for backup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's. I've had so many times in my life that I shouldn't have made it. I mean, I'm serious. I've been many, many times. But I will tell you something that's very strange. And it makes me wonder if there are different people around the world that are sent here to do different things.
Mm.
Because I have actually saved at least a dozen people from dying just by being there and reacting.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, I've saved 4 in Scotland by grabbing them as they started to walk in front of the buses. Um, I did that in Denver. Another guy was turning around to walk and grabbed him and pulled him back, and the bus went flying by. But I will tell you a story that's kind of cute. My stepmother, we lived in Oregon. We had a big pond in front of us. And we went out to go swimming because there was a raft that my dad had built, this big wooden raft with a high dive. All the fathers got together and they built this raft. And I'm out on the raft and I see my stepmother, who's a good swimmer. She has my brother, who's about a year old, right? And she's swimming along, going to come onto the raft. Well, there's these 2 dogs, and they were part Great Dane and they were part German Shepherd. So they were big and hairy. And they decide they want to go out there too. Well, they get about halfway there and they realize they're not very good swimmers, right? Because they're so heavy. And they go to the nearest landmass, which happens to be my stepmother and my brother. And they start trying to use her to keep from sinking and drowning. And they're clawing at her and everything else. And they knock my brother loose, right? And he sinks like a rock, right? So I'm standing there and I go, I got to go get him. So I dive in, and I was 13 at the time. And I dive in and I'm swimming. I'm not seeing anything. And the water's not super deep. It's maybe 15 feet. I'm swimming. I've already lost. I don't have any more air. Right. And I'm going, I'm not going to stop. Right. I'm going to find that little bugger. But the funniest thing, I'll never forget this. Do you know how Buddha sits with his legs just kind of in front of him and he just sits there? My little brother, I saw a piece of white in the distance, and not that far, probably 15 feet. Right? And I look down and I see the white, and I keep going, and I see it's his diaper, right? And he looks up at me, and I'll never forget this. He sees me coming, and his little hands come up, and he goes, like this, like, come get me. So I go and I snag him, and I'm going up, and I'm still like, I'm not sure I'm going to get out of the water. And I'm only like 15 feet. Finally, I pop out, and I'm like, but I got him. So that's one of the people that I saved. Yeah. So, I mean, there's seriously over a dozen people whose lives I've saved. I got to tell you this one story because you'll love this one. We used to do exhibit shows. Now, to get in and out of the show, we had like a 25-foot aisle that you could drive in and you'd turn around, you'd come back out. And we'd let you go in and drop your stuff off. Well, I'm standing there and this woman comes up to me and she says, "You're with the show." I said, "Yeah, what can I do for you?" She goes, "Can you tell me where my booth's supposed to be?" I turn around and I look, and there's a pickup truck with a flatbed. Now, this flatbed's got these wheels that stick out farther, and it's got metal over it, right? Yeah. And he's driving way too fast. I turn around and look, and he's maybe 25 feet away from us. So I reach out and I grab her things, and I go to step backwards so she's not going to get hit. And there's a building, because it was a home show. Somebody had built a part of a house behind us, and I couldn't go any farther, and it was like right here. So I just grabbed her and I went, and I lifted her up over my head, right? I figured it was going to take my legs out, but I wasn't going to let her get hit. And I felt that the wind just missed me. And I set her back down, and the lady starts screaming bloody murder. "What makes you think you can carry? What makes you?" I mean, she's about ready to start swinging on me, right? And what happened was the cop and the security guard that are, monitoring the flow right there, both saw it come running over. They go, "Oh my God, that was so close." So they told her what happened. I walked away because I almost threw up. I mean, the adrenaline was so high. I thought I thought at least I was going to get run over, right? And I was really scared that she was going to get hurt. But after I said, "I got to walk away for a couple minutes here." So I did. I walked over and composed myself. And she comes running over just I'm so sorry. She was loving on me there. So,
Yeah,
but I don't know how many people would have thought of lifting her up over the wheels. I mean, right?
many. So
or
many.
actually could lift her up that easy. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
funny.
the adrenaline talking.
yeah.
Well, it's funny because in the movie I got hired many times to lift people up and throw them. I mean, I'm a living guardian angel. Now I kind of wonder if I kind of wonder sometimes if I'm part of the brigade, but not a guardian angel. Like they kind of say, I'll give you one more, for instance, which makes me wonder. Told you I got bad knees. There is a place right there on Coburn Street that's got one of those things called the Closes, and it goes up to the real Mary King's Close, and it's probably 150 stairs. And I would always go walk the stairs, trying to keep my legs, warmed up and nice. And one day my knees were just killing me, and I just came down to the thing. I said, I'm not going up there. And then I went, come on, you lazy slug, go. So I walked up to the top trying to loosen my legs up because they were real sore. So I got up there and I said, you know what, I'm going to walk back down. And I almost never walk back down. I usually walk back around to Coburn Street. Actually, it's not the way it's spelled, but that's the way they say it. So I said, all right, I'll walk back down the stairs. So I walked down the stairs and I got back down there and I went, do it again. Now I've never done it twice, right? I went, and I did it again. And when I came down, my legs were feeling pretty loose and felt kind of nice. And I walked down, and I'm going back to my hotel, and I've only walked 50 yards maybe. And there's an intersection, and there's some people, Oriental people. I don't know if they're Japanese. I don't know if they were Asian. I'm not sure. But there were two, and looked like maybe sisters, walking, and there's like a 5-year-old kid in front of them. And they had just crossed the intersection. And as they got there, the 5-year-old turned and ran into traffic. And I ran in front of him and had him out of the way before I even knew I went. I mean, I just thought, oh, shit. And off I went and got him and pushed him back. And they're like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was like, oh, you're welcome. So, I mean, I just happened to be somewhere when something happens. And fortunately, I was a pretty good athlete. You can't be a stunt guy without being a good athlete. And and a lot of the things that happen and you see, you have done in stunts before. You know what I mean? So, but there's so many weird things like that. It's like, I mean, if I hadn't done those stairs twice and loosened my knees up as much as I never would have got to that kid.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you think something else is going on. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And if that's what I was put here for, I'm okay with it. I like it. Keep it up.
Exactly. Yeah. In the right place, on the right time, because somebody told you to.
Yeah.
Without you even knowing.
Yeah, something brought me there. And I'll tell you one more. Once again, I was 13 at the same place in Oregon. Me and my dad went up and we went to go hunting. Now, our hunting was not like other people's hunting. We never shot at animals. We shot at trees and tree branches and just, being out and doing the shooting was what we wanted to do. So we were coming back down and we get out in front and we're standing out in front of the front door and he takes this thing. He had a 370 or 270 rifle and he pulls the bolt back. He goes, now see, there's nothing in there. And he goes and pushes it back, right? We get inside, and as we walk in the door, and then once again, my little brother's 1 year old, and my stepmother just starts screaming and just giving my old man the hardest time about bringing a rifle and thing. He goes, it's empty. I checked it outside, right? And he says, besides that, it's in the top thing he says he can't get to where it's at. It's in the top shelf in the closet, right? So she's still screaming and screaming and screaming. And he goes, look, and he goes, and he creates a bolt. And he puts the end of the gun in under his eye, like this, up into his eyebrow, under his, so it's actually stuck up in there. And he puts his finger on the trigger, and he goes to pull it. I'm standing in front of him and I went, no, and I pulled it, and it went, and a bullet went right through the ceiling.
Wow.
And what's so strange is that I went up to Wolf Creek Inn, and it's about 25 miles away from that old house. And I went up
Yeah.
and knocked on the door and asked them if I could come in and look and see if that thing's still up there. But they'd replaced the braces, so it wasn't up there anymore. But I walked around and showed the lady, the house. This was my room. We had a fire here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. But I do end up in a lot of strange things happening, But that's just my brother and my dad. I saved my dad another time, and that was with the Heimlich. He's coughing. He's fine. It was so funny. We had two really big Dobermans, right, 100+ pounds, and my dad's choking, and my stepmother's trying to grab in his mouth. She thinks he's got his false teeth in. She doesn't want him to swallow them, and he's hacking away. And finally, I come running over there, and I get hold of him. And I used to be a lifeguard, so I know how to do it. And while I'm doing it, I'll never forget this. The Doberman, who was like my favorite dog, comes up and he's looking at me and he's like, "What's going on? What's going on? There's something. I should do something. What's going on?" And he was so flustered, right? And finally, he looks at me and he's like, "I'm sorry." And he reaches out and he bites me on the butt, right? But he couldn't have broke a grape. He kind of went, right? Just to show that he was involved. And then he stepped back and looked at me like, "You're going to tell him, I jumped in, right? I got you, don't worry," right? So I let my dad. He actually leaned over and he was on his knees over a ottoman. He's like, so I saved him twice, saved my brother once. I mean, that's 3 just in my own family. So
Yeah. Wow.
so if anything's going to happen to you, invite me.
Yes. Yes. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I have bad feelings, you have to come over to Holland.
Well, I want to come there. I want to go to Amsterdam. If there's any really good places to go in Amsterdam?
The castle, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that don't sound
Yeah.
too good so far.
That's not too far off, and
No.
in the area of Dordrecht, also 1 or 2 castles.
I don't know if you can see this picture or not. That's a scene from a
Yeah.
movie I did.
Yeah.
That's me holding the guy up over my head up on the wall.
Wow.
And what was so funny about that was, and here, I just want to show you something. Yes, I do know how to pick up girls.
Yeah. Wow.
Very nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of times when I had to do stuff like that. When we were doing that movie, it's just they brought me in. It was right near the end of the night, and the director says, "Okay, here's what I want. I want you to grab this guy, and we'll throw him up on there, and you're gonna wrestle with him. You're gonna hold him up above there, and we're gonna do all this stuff, right?" So, okay. So he goes, "Do you need time to? We're running loose. You better go get him in the harnesses and everything else." I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, you want me to throw him up there, right?" I said, "Yeah. Can I get like a 1-foot apple box? That's something they use for the cameras." He goes, "Yeah, why?" I said, "Because that way he can be up, because he's shorter than me, and it's hard to get him from under there. It's easier to get him from here, right?" So he says, "And what are you gonna do?" I said, "Throw him up there and hold him like you want." And he goes, "Okay." So anyway, they yell action. I grab him, I just spin him around and throw him up there and stick him up there and hold him up. Finally, I set him down. And he goes, "I didn't say action." I said, "He is kind of heavy," because I held him up for 30 seconds. And he goes, "Oh, that's right. He's not harnessed." So that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
He
it is.
completely forgot about it. Yeah, I have a question from Laura. What do you do about classic loop spirits repeating the action they did in life?
Are you saying that's like a residual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
loop
think
is?
so.
No, there's really nothing you can do with the residual other than just try and catch the evidence of it, because it's just going to repeat over and over and over.
Yeah.
And, which the residuals are kind of good, because if you other people have seen them, you can put up equipment to, see if you can catch them when you're not there. So that's kind of cool. But the residual ones they make me kind of sad sometimes to think that maybe that's still the spirit doing it, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just kind of like a timestamp and it just comes by itself.
Yeah, and the things that happen to them, they relive it every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case.
I hope so. I don't hope so as well, but I am afraid that they do relive that moment.
Yeah, it's very possible. But like I said,
Because the thing is, when I feel residual energy and it's in a loop and they relive it, I can feel the sadness in some cases. That I'm like, oh, this is not good. Something happened.
Sometimes you get that overwhelming feeling of sadness. I mean, it's overwhelming. You almost want to cry.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you run across stuff that's hard. I'll tell you, when we did the Phelps Dodge Hospital down in Arizona, that was one they were filming. We were up on the third floor, which was where they kept the babies, right? And it was a hospital, so this was sick children. And I had my thermal out, and I looked down, and I saw what looked like was a baby crawling across the floor. So I called this kid over. I said, "See this? What is it?" He goes, "It's a baby." And there's a little baby crawling across the floor. And it was like,
yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, but it could have been people, because we had stuff go on when we went. We were right outside the hallway, and then we took a right, and he was heading that direction, and it vanished. It was only there for like, then it was gone. But I had a young guy who was like 14 at the time, and I had him asking the questions, and we started to get some reactions in there. And finally, I said, he says, "I don't know, I'm not getting much anything else." I said, "Do you want us to leave?" And he goes, right. I said, "Okay." And I looked over and he goes, "What are we going to do?" I said, "We're going to leave." Right. So off we went.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I have Laura writing down, yes, I have a Civil War act happening in my backyard, which I do hear cannons going off and shotguns and the blue and red uniforms. And she hears voices that say the general is down, and I hear yelling fire.
And where are you located, Laura?
If I am correct, she was saying that as well. Alton, Illinois.
I don't know if I've been to Alton, but I grew up on the south side of Chicago, so I've been through a lot of different places. Next time I go back to visit anybody, that may be a place I have to check out.
Yeah, she says 5 miles, Alton, Illinois, South Roxana.
Yeah, I actually went to college in Joliet. So, there was the Joliet prison, Statesville prison. There was a lot of stuff going on around there too. There was, what is the name of that? Bachelor's Grove wasn't that far away, which we went and ghost hunted in there, a lot of places. So, like I said, I've been doing it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My first thing was I was 13 when I saw something.
Do you know what you saw?
Oh yeah. I can tell you what happened. I didn't see anything actually. My grandfather had died, and he wanted to be buried in Paducah, Kentucky. And he died suddenly. And my mother, we didn't have a lot of money. I was 13. I didn't have any money. I was just a kid. And so we had to use a train. We put him on a train, a casket. We got on it. And he wanted to be buried in Paducah, Kentucky. So we went down there. And the first thing that we found out, there was a man that came up and said, "Hello, I'm Joe's brother." That was my grandfather's name. And he goes, and he says, "My name's Joe Volholius." And I went, his first name wasn't Joe, that was my grandpa. But he said his last name was Volholius. And I went, "Well, how can you be brother of Joe? His name's Kelly." And he goes, when he came over on the boat, he came with the Kellys. He just adopted the name, right? So it turns out that my grandfather was 100% Spartan.
Spartan.
Spartan,
Cool.
which is kind of cool now that the 300 came out, but nobody knew what the Spartans were back. You know, although what's funny was the football team I was on in high school was the Kelly Spartans. Well, that's funny because I never put the Kelly with it. Kelly
Yeah.
Spartans.
Yeah.
It's kind of telling me there from way back. But
It's
yeah,
when you start telling about it, you start thinking about it.
yeah, I never thought of Joe Kelly and Spartans. Huh. But anyway, we go walk. We didn't have time to get a hotel or anything else before we just got to the train in time. So we get out. It's not a very nice part of town, right? So we look up. My mother says, "Well, let's walk and see if we can find some place to stay." So we walk a little bit. It wasn't real long, maybe a couple hundred yards. And we came across this place. It was a brownstone with a flickering neon light out in front. I mean, it looks like every murder movie and every horror movie starts off in this place. So we go in there, and my mother says, "Do you have a room?" And he goes, "Yeah, we got one left." And she goes, "How much?" Because like I said, we didn't have much money. And he told us, she goes, "Okay, I'll take it." Now, I didn't know my grandfather very well. I'd met him like only twice in my life, right? And the guy says to her, she goes, "Wow, I have to tell you before you go up there, that room is haunted." Now, I'm 13 years old. I'm like, woohoo! Yes, let's go. Well, we go up there and it looks like a volleyball court inside. It's a big rectangular wooden floor. And all it's got in it is a rolling bed on each side of the room. Now, the room is probably 25 feet wide. Looks like maybe they used it for something else before, like maybe it was a dance hall and you just roll the things out, you never know. But it was real wide. And we were real tired and the emotions of the whole deal, So we hit the bed. And me being 5'2" when I was 13, I'm laying, there's a reason I say that. I'm laying in bed and I hear my mother scream in the middle of the night, right? Now I sit up as fast as I can. I'm ready to jump out with my little tiny self, right, to defend her. And I look over at her and I see her bed is going right towards me. And she's sitting up there and she's like, her bed. Yeah. So I'm looking and then I realize my bed is coming from the other way and we smash together in the middle of the room. And my mother just looks at me. We're just staring at each other. And finally she goes, "I guess that guy is right." Now, my mother was extremely intelligent, right? She was always the Mensa thing and everything else. And we decided to try and debunk this. Now, this was 57 years ago, right? Nobody had ever heard of debunking. There were no ghost hunting shows. There was nothing, right? I mean, if you wanted to show what happened, you'd use a chalkboard, right? That was how long ago it was. Well, we decided, to try some things, roll a glass and see if it's made floors are warped. That didn't do it. So I went over there and I got behind my bed and I shoved it as hard as I could. Now I wasn't Hulk Hogan, but I was a human, right? And I shoved it and went about 3 or 4 feet. So we could not, I was hooked from that day on. There's no doubt this was ghosts did this. And after that, I was like, charge. So
good.
Yeah, it was frightening.
That was cool.
That's no doubt about that.
The only thing I saw was cat eyes.
Yeah, might have been a cat.
No, my dad was allergic, and we didn't have cats. We had dogs who didn't like cats. So,
it's funny. There's so many things on Facebook and stuff of cats beating up dogs. Cats are fearless. People got to remember they are just miniature lions.
mm-hmm. They are. Yeah,
that's all they are. Miniature lions.
I've never seen a cat with glowing eyes, and this one had glowing eyes, so I can't explain that one.
You got to look up and see which animals do have glowing eyes. Might not have been a cat.
No, we don't have a very, very extraordinary animals here, so except for wolves. They're now very extraordinary here, but
yeah. Well, you saw something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still can't explain what it was. So definitely something paranormal, but
There are so many things that are unbelievable. I don't know how much more time you have left. Uh,
about 15 minutes.
okay. The one of the things that stuck with me so much. My dad and I had not been friends for a long time, and he invited me to come down to Texas to visit him. So I said, okay, it's time to bury the hatchet one way or another. Either I'm going to bury the hatchet in the backyard, or I'm going to bury it in him. Right? One way or another, we're going to fix this. So
Yeah.
we get down there, and we ended up being pretty good friends. But the first night I got there, I had a friend come with me. We drove from Chicago all the way down to Dallas, Texas, and we get down there, and it's one of my dad's salesmen. It was his birthday, and they'd been at the bar drinking, and then they came over to the house to wait for us. So he says they're going to drive him back to get his car so he can drive home. I was like, "You've been drinking all day. The guy's drunk, so you're going to take him to his car? This is smart." Right?
Hmm.
So anyway, they go to drop him off. I said, "Dude, I'm real tired. Where do I sleep?" So he says, "Over here." So I go to this room, and it's like a ladies' room. And I say that because it had the canopy with the lace, and very feminine room. And I laid down, and there was a window, so the light was coming in through the window. And there was a slider lock on the door. And I laid down. I'm laying there for a couple of minutes, and I hear, and I'm like,
Creepy.
"What was that?" Right? And I'm pretty hard to scare. I've been through a lot. I'm like, "What was that?" Right? Way back down again, I hear a little louder. So, all right, now I got to figure this out. And it's kind of cold in there. And I look, and I'd had my covers up. So I thought, well, maybe it's just my breath bouncing off the covers, right? So I sit up, and I hear it again while I'm sitting up. I hear it even louder. All right, what the hell's going on here, right? And I
Yeah.
look up, right next to me is an air conditioner, right? And I thought, oh, the air conditioner just shut off. Then I went, it doesn't shut off 3 times in a row.
No.
Right? So I'm sitting there, and I swear, as God is my witness, something right here on the back of my neck, right behind my ear, on the back of my neck went. I could feel the heat of it because it was like right here. It went, right? And I mean, it sounded evil. I mean, I jumped out of bed, grabbed the thing, and I'm trying to get out, and the door, I can't see that well. And there's a little bit of light, but I want out, right? So screw this. I can't find the slider. I just went snap and busted the frame out, right?
Wow.
And boom, I'm out in front. And my dad lived in a cul-de-sac, and I'm out there for about 10 minutes, and here he comes. And he gets out, and he looks at me, he starts laughing. He goes, "He got you, didn't he?" I said, "What do you mean?" And he looks at me, and he goes, "Ah." I said, "You know about that?" He goes, "Happens all the time." So this place was extraordinarily haunted. Matter of fact, in my book,
Oh my god.
I put down in my
Yeah.
book the most haunted place in the United States, and it's not even close. And it was horrifying, some of the stuff that went on. I'll tell you one more just to give you an idea.
Yeah.
It was set up like an H. My dad's office in my room, the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, and then my dad and the garage, right? So the 2 on the sides were longer, right? And my brother was sleeping on the couch. Now, my brother actually is in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame because he was a world heavyweight kickboxer, right? And he also retired from boxing undefeated. So he's a pretty rough little character, right? So it's like 2 a.m, and I hear, we had in the garage a heavy bag and a speed bag. And I hear the heavy bag, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, my old man's going to kick my brother's ass. My brother at the time was about 13. I was 27 at the time, I think, 26 actually. And I get up to go out and tell him, "Hey, knock it off. The old man's going to knock you upside the head." So I go out, and as I'm coming around the door, my brother's walking. He goes, "There's somebody in the garage." So he and I start walking over there. My dad pops out of his room with my stepmother, Vandy. And they're both looking here, and my dad has the gun in his hand. And he goes, "All right." And we had like a 180-pound Great Dane in the backyard. And he goes, go out this door. And when I say now, go in as fast as you can with the dog, right? So he yells, go. So we go flying in there. And the best way of putting this, here's the heavy bag. And it was going,
Wow.
right? Now, that's not the thing that really got us. We're sitting there and it slows down, and all of a sudden it goes, boom, and you could hear it, boom, right? And the 2 times it hit, it went up, and then it came back, and it stopped in the middle where somebody would actually punch it, and it went up again. So it was like, you get over here, it goes. It went, boom, boom, stopped there and went back. So,
Yeah.
Wow.
by the way, this is the view from the Hellfire Club.
Cool.
Yeah. I saw that picture come by.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
in a picture of some Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we
that-
don't know him.
That was
No.
the, and I'll tell you one more. This is just, I have another thing that's kind of strange. Babies and animals are very attracted to me. I mean, very. Matter of fact, when I was just in Scotland, I was walking back to my hotel, and there was a restaurant, and it's all cobblestones, and there were about 5 or 6 women standing off to the side, and they're looking, and they're going, hey, over here, over here, over here. And I look down, and a little fox comes around, turns around the corner, and he's on the other side of the street. I looked at him, I said, hey, come here. Runs over, and he comes up right to my feet, and he's sitting there, and he's just looking up at me, and I'm going, how you doing? Right? And the way he ran, I could tell his left foot was hurt. So I didn't want to try and touch him because I figured that might trigger him to bite me. But he's just standing, and he was so friendly, right? I said, all right, well, I got to go. But I talked to him for a couple of minutes. I just stood there talking to him, and he was just sitting there looking at me. He's all happy. And I started to walk away. And it was like one of those Hallmark movies, right? I stopped and I turned around, and the fox had already started walking away. And he turns around, looks back at me. So we both turned around to look at each other. It was like a Hallmark moment. So,
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I do have this thing with dogs and cats, and especially dogs. But that one dog, I have to tell you this. This is just a good one to go out on. I wanted to get a Great Dane because my dad had this huge backyard, and I had a Great Dane growing up. So I asked him. I said, "Hey, can we get a Great Dane?" Because I was staying there at his house, and he goes, "Yeah, check around, see, because he liked Great Danes too." He says, "Go around, check if there's any around. Let's see." So I called around. The only place I could find was an actual breeder's place that, bred the Great Danes and other dogs.
Yeah.
So this was 1979, a long time ago. And I called up and I said, well, how much do your dogs cost? And she goes, well, they start at $500. Yeah. 1979, that's a lot of money, right?
That was
Yeah.
a lot of money, yeah.
So I went into my dad. Now, my dad at times had a lot of money. At other times, he owed a lot of money, right? So,
Yeah.
So at this point, he had a lot of money, right? He goes, let's go look. So we go out there, and this lady is bringing out all these show dogs, and they all come out, and they all look like Brad Pitt posing. And I'm like, that's not what I want. I want a dog. I want when I get a headlock and biff him in the head, they'll bite me, wrestle into the ground. I want a dog, right? And she goes through all these dogs, like a dozen of them. Finally, she goes, well, that's about it. I said, well, can I see the other dog? She looks at me like surprised that I caught on. I said, well, you said that's about it. That means there's another one somewhere. And she goes, well, I can't show you him. He's vicious. He's absolutely vicious. He's the most vicious dog we've ever had. She says, he fights with all the other dogs. He bites everybody he comes near. I said, can I please see him? Right? And she goes, no, I really don't feel good. I said, please let me see him. And she goes, I said, we came a long way. And she goes, all right. Comes out with this magnificent looking dog, right? I mean, just fantastic looking dog. Unfortunately, I remember what page he's on. Let's see.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful dog.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was a show dog with a bad attitude, evidently. Right? So she brings him over. He's got a muzzle on. And my dad and I are standing there, and I'm looking him in the eye, and I'm like, I see something, right? So I get down on one knee, and I said, "Can you take the muzzle off?" She goes, "Oh no, 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 no." I said, "Ma'am, if he bites me, it's on me, right?" And she goes, "You shouldn't do this." I said, "Please." She takes the muzzle off him, and I swear to God, this is exactly what happened. I might be a little off on one little word or something, but this is exactly what happened. You get the idea. He's probably 4 feet away from me, right? And because he's face to face with me when I'm because he's big, right? And I'm looking at him, and I went, "Come here." And he looked at me, didn't move, and I went, "Come here." Right? So he walks up and he puts his face right here in front of my face, and the lady's having a damn heart attack because she knows no, she knows he's going to eat my face at any second, right?
Yeah.
And he looks at me, and I swear he did this. He took one more step, put his head on my shoulder, and leaned into me.
Oh,
Yeah, and my dad was about ready to cry. I was about ready to cry. The lady was like that, and I said, "I want him," and she goes, "You can have him." Right? And I said, "Well, how much is it?" She goes, "No, you can have him. We were going to probably have to do something with that dog. He was so mean."
yeah.
I said, "He's not mean to me, right?" And I told him to, I pushed him back on his chest, right? I said, "Sit." And he looked at me, and I reached behind him and went, "Sit." And he sat down. I went, "Good boy." And he's like, "Ah."
I
So
love that.
that dog was like my soulmate. Everywhere I went, he went with me. I mean, it was
That's
so bizarre.
amazing.
180-pound shadow.
Yeah.
Love it.
You got time for one more?
I hope because we have 3 more minutes left,
Well,
and I
here,
don't know what StreamYard's going to do.
I got your 2.5 minute story. I'm sitting there. Everybody's gone out of the house. I'm sitting there cross-legged watching TV. The dog's laying next to me, and he's asleep, right? And all of a sudden he goes, and he sits up, and he's all alert. And he looks like the Sphinx. You know, dogs like this. He's got his legs in front of him, still down on his back, still on his stomach and his back legs.
Yeah.
Looking,
Yeah.
all of a sudden he goes, his eyes go like this, right? And his ears go back, and he goes. Now, anybody that knows anything about animals, that is intended to scare the other animals or whatever's there. They go into that deep thing. That's serious stuff going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm looking at him, and he's looking right at me, and I'm going, "Tubby, it's me, right? Tubby," and he's going, "Ah," and his teeth come out. I mean, and he's about as mad as any dog you'll ever see in your life. And he picks his back legs up, and he's about halfway up, and he's shaking. He's going, "Ah, ah," right? And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to duke it out with this giant dog. Shit, lady's right. He is crazy, right? And I'm looking at him, and I realize he's looking over my shoulder and not at me. So I think there's a burglar in the house, right? So I just went, "Tubby, get him!" And he went flying by me, and I jumped up to go help him. He's up on his back paws, jumping at the air, and he's flailing away with his paws and biting in the air, going, "Ah, ah, ah," right? Finally, he comes down onto his 4 feet, and he's still looking the other way. And then he finally goes, and he turns around, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Okay, we're good." And he comes over, next to me. I don't know what it was in the world that he saw,
You
Yeah.
saw something.
but I never. But I mean, he went Fifth City on my behalf. I'll tell you that.
Cool. Oh, it was good. The guard dog.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I've never had an animal that liked me like that.
Wow. That is amazing.
That is amazing.
Still working.
That was a
Yeah.
2.5 minute story, wasn't it?
Yeah. StreamYard's still working. I don't know how long he's going to do it, but we have the free versions, like they say, and it's supposed to do 2 hours at max.
Yes.
But it's still live, so
Yeah, it
I-
is.
maybe because I look nice. I'm actually asking sweetly not to stop yet at 2 hours, but we made it. We made 2 hours. We're still
Yes.
online. We're still live. It's because of Rick's pretty face.
That means I get to go get some food
Yeah, then you have to go get some food.
because
Well,
Ricky's hungry.
then Rick has to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rick, we want to thank you for joining us on our show
Yeah,
and the
we
amazing
really have to
stories you
do it
told
again.
us.
Actually,
Yes, we do.
um, actually, wasn't it strange how the fact of how I got my Great Dane went in with how I said dogs and kids and foxes and things like that. I mean, here's a lady was going to put this dog down, and he just come over and hugged me.
It's supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
I have a thing with animals as well, especially dogs.
Yeah, dogs are angels on earth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
I've always believed that animals, dogs in particular, were put on the earth to teach you how to grieve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that a lot. And I feel that a lot as well.
Oh, you got time for one quick story?
Yeah, as long as it keeps online, it's fine with me.
Yes.
I have these things that come to me every once in a while, which I guess they call lucid dreams, where all of a sudden a dream is happening
Yeah.
while you're wide awake.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and I'm watching TV, and all of a sudden everything went with the iris again and went black. And I was like, holy crap, I just died. And I'm sitting in my living room chair and I'm like, holy cow, right? I'm like moving around. I said, well, I'm still moving around, right? And I see a little thing of light show up in the blackness. And I was like, am I supposed to go to that? Right? So I'm sitting there, I said, all right. So in my head, I get up and I'm starting to walk that direction. I'm terrified because I'm expecting claws to come out of the ground and drag me under. Right? So I'm walking along and I'm just as terrified as I've ever been. And as I get down there, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's getting to be the closer I get, the more light there is. And I get about, I would say, 20 yards away, and it looks like there's plastic wrap over it, like saran wrap. I can see people walking, but I can't see who they are. Like they're behind this cover, behind something that's kind of blocking them out. And I'm standing there, I don't know what to do. And I feel something hit me in the ass and knock me forward, right? And on the other side, I get hit in the ass and knocked forward. I'm like, what's going on, right? And all of a sudden, I start to feel the hits in the butt. I'm feeling them in the back of my legs, and they're knocking me forward. So I'm trying to get away from whatever it is, and I'm moving away, and they're still bumping me forward. And I finally got about 5 yards away, and I could see the people. It became clear. I could see the people, and there were people that I'd known who passed away. And I turned around and looked, and behind me, bumping into me, was all the dogs I'd ever had.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And so they were I had two Great Danes, so they were both taking turns whapping me along. And the Dobermans were bopping me, So,
Yeah.
but so anybody out there that has a pet, you're going to see them again.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I think
definitely.
Yeah.
That whole Rainbow Bridge is real, and I think that's the reason there's reasons for everything, right?
Yeah.
I had a friend that was one of the guys up at the market I go to, and I went up there, and he's really upset. He goes, I said, what's the matter, John? He goes, oh, I lost my dog last night. I said, can I tell you a quick story? And I did, and he started crying right there in the store. I said, you have to see him again, right? And that very same place I was talking about ghost hunting, and the manager and a couple of people sitting there go, are there any ghosts in here? And I said, there's two. I went, what? I said, yeah, there's two. There's one over in the meat department. There's one over at the front of that aisle. And they all got quiet. And I said, what's the matter? And he goes, the girl who worked in the meat department committed suicide. He says, and there was a guy who died right there where you told us about from a heart attack. Like, well, they're still here. And they're looking at me like, yeah. He's not full of crap. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, they usually look like that.
Yeah. Well,
when you tell them something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you get some big eyes. They're like,
Yep.
So, well, guys, thank you, guys and lady. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome.
And If there's anybody out there that knows some good ghost hunting places that I should go, just hit me up
Yeah.
on Facebook. You can go to Rick McCallum on Facebook and go Ghost Believes in Me. You can go to Hollywood Ghost Hunters, and I'll get the message.
Yeah.
Going straight to me is better, or Hollywood Ghost Hunters is a good one too. So,
Yeah.
but as you can
Everybody
see,
follow Rick.
so as you can
Yeah.
see that I do have a lot of things in put in books. I mean, there's a lot of stuff has happened.
I need to buy myself some books.
Yeah, me too.
Well, if you lived here, I'd give them to you. Besides that, they're only £10 or $10 on Amazon. And like I
Yeah,
said,
it's not that expensive.
and the money goes to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So
Yeah,
Perfect.
I'll buy them.
Yeah. Hollywood Ghost Hunter.
I need that one as well. I need a shirt like that as well.
I get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I need.
I mean, when we went to Tombstone, there we sold a lot of them.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Well, guys, it's been fun. Off I go.
Yes.
Have a nice bite.
Yeah, I hope there's food in there. If you have to go to the store, no. I always walk to the store, which is about 2.2 miles, and
Yeah.
I'm hungry. Want something now?
Go grab yourself something to eat.
Yes.
Well,
For sure,
Thank-
we will do this again.
Definitely will.
all right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
Rick.
See ya.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
And
All right,
hope you are-
everybody. Yeah. Everybody, we want to thank you for watching and staying with us for, well, more than 2 hours in this case. We've been in 2 hours and 7 minutes. I am so glad StreamYard still works.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I was afraid after 2 hours. It was like, nah. Done. Finished. You had your time. Goodbye.
I thought it would cut off,
Yeah,
but
so did I.
we did
We
great.
did good.
And yeah, amazing stories.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, Laura, for instance, because you have a lot of messages. I didn't show them all. I'm sorry, but I don't want to interrupt people's talking, and I don't want to interrupt the stories, because then you
Yeah.
lose the stories. So thank you for the comments. I think Rick can read them back because it's on the page. Yeah. You asked if you could send the EVPs to me. Well, go ahead and send them, because we would be dying to know what was going on the EVP. I will send it to Mary as well. And yeah,
We will share out anything we can find. So
yes, we
books
will.
for the hospital,
Yep.
the tour on Ireland, and if
Yep.
there is any knowledge about him going back to Scotland, we will share it on our like page and in our groups. So
Yeah.
just keep looking for it, and yeah, maybe next year we will invite him back.
Yeah, probably will.
Send
Us the link, Laura.
Perfect.
We will subscribe. We will hit up, and then we'll see what you have on your channel. Very, very dying to know.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We're going to go to the toilet because now I have to pee.
Yes. You
We
will
both have
cut
to
it
pee.
off.
So, everybody, we'll see you in the next one.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.